So let's go in and look. So the guy brought up Brandon Aiyuk. And I think we saw Brandon Aiyuk on one of these teams who the guy was interested in, the Playmaker. Let's see what the Playmaker's trying to do. So right here, this is what he's trying to do right here. So he's looking at Team 3. Team 3 has $80 million. So he said Brandon Aiyuk just to make the money work. That's interesting. So instead of Brandon Aiyuk, we know Brandon Aiyuk has an ACL. But what would he do for like a Nico Collins? Nico Collins also been hurt too as well. Would he do a Nico Collins 1.11 and a second round pick for Puka Nacua? That's one thing that I'm going to have to go for. I'm going to have to switch up Aiyuk and be like, nah, let's see. What about Nico Collins, man? Because Puka Nacua is up there. Doesn't get hurt that often like that on Nico Collins does. What are y'all thinking out there? Do you think he can make that trade? You think he should pull the trigger? Which one should he do? Let us know down in the comments. So
you're now listening to the Cerberus Gridiron Podcast. And now your hosts, Christian and Chris, powered by Cerberus Fantasy Sports.
what's going on, everybody? What's going on? Welcome to the Cerberus Gridiron Podcast. I am your host, Christian_CFS, and we are in the building tonight. And it's going to be a solo show tonight because the other half of the Cerberus Gridiron Podcast had to handle some business with family. So we're just going to still keep it rolling because we know we got to get this information out to you. But since we are doing that, let's figure it out. How was your weekend? Just gonna let us know down up in the comments. How was your weekend? How's the family doing? And if you got kids, how the kids doing? Hopefully y'all had a great weekend. I had a great weekend. Can't complain. Enjoyed the family time that I got. But we're gonna keep it short and sweet and just get right into the show. So, you already know we're kicking it off already. Nice. It is episode 85 in the building. So, let's go and kick it off right good. Only way to do it is, you know what we got to do. That CGP news. CGP news. What is in the news? Well, you already know what time it is. It is free agency frenzy. The free agency week 1 has finally actually went down. So we do have some highs and lows. Some people are trending up in the right direction. Some people are trending in the wrong direction. And a lot of people out there got a bunch of head scratchers. But one of the teams that looks like it's been trending up in the high, it is the Chicago Bears. A lot of people have been talking about how the Bears need a new offensive line, trying to help them out from like what they was last year. But it seems like they are trying to do that for Caleb Williams. And they did leave some little nuggets. The last time, or the Chicago Bears haven't had a top 5 offensive line since 2006, the season they went to the Super Bowl. So hopefully they're going to continue to go up in the upward trend and trying to get one of those top 5 defense or offensive lines. The next thing you know, man, the Commanders, they are still trending up. They're doing what they need to do to try to get into that Super Bowl. You know, they was close, but it wasn't just close enough. And the Vikings run game is just keeps on getting stronger. They already have Aaron Jones, and then they end up trading for Jordan Mason, which makes me wonder what the 49ers are saying about Isaac Guerendo. Must be a good value just to have. Next, you know, the Raiders are going up. They did add Geno Smith from the Seahawks. So since Geno is finally going back over to his old coach, Pete Carroll, we're going to see what that offense is going to end up doing this year. Should end up getting another tick up, especially since they really didn't have a QB last year. They did have Aiden O'Connell, and he really wasn't the best option for them. So they had to bring in Geno Smith for that. And then the Broncos. The Broncos are trending upward. Sean Payton and his work with Bo Nix led to a playoff appearance despite having even though the Broncos are trending upward, even though they did have 20% of their cap to Russell Wilson, they're still trending up in the upward with also having Bo Nix. So the Broncos are actually trending up in the actual upward. The Broncos are trending up in the upward trend because, but one of the other teams after the Vikings run game, it's the Broncos, which are trending up. And the Patriots defense is getting better. They signed Carlton Davis. They also signed linebacker Robert Spillane, and then D-tackle Milton Williams. So everybody was trying to get Milton Williams because they knew how strong he was up on that defensive line. You know where they say everything is built up in the trenches. But those are some teams that are trending up. There's also some teams that are trending down. It is the Cowboys, man. The Cowboys really haven't done anything much of lately. And then the Seahawks. They was trying to keep Geno Smith, but they didn't. They wasn't able to. So since they wasn't able to, they brought in Sam Darnold, and they also got Cooper Kupp. So everybody out there, tell me, what is your feeling about Cooper Kupp going to the Seattle Seahawks? Do you like it? Do you not like it? Do you think it's going to hurt JSN? Which one is going to be that wide receiver one? And what can you see that offense end up being like? Because me in particular, I really don't know how the offense is going to end up being, especially since Cooper Kupp did run up in the slot a little bit, but now we'll see whose role he's going to take. Is it going to be the Tyler Lockett role, or is it going to be the DK Metcalf role? We'll have to sit back and see how Sam Darnold connects with these two wide receivers. But that is all of what we're going to talk about in the CGP news, man. People trending up, just sitting back, relaxing, enjoying the free agency frenzy, trying to see and watch our teams get better. That's the best thing about it, is trying to see what our teams are building. But the one big nugget that we have to talk about, it's the Bengals duo, man. They finally got paid. I know me and my co-host, Mr. K Camp, have already been talking about this numerous of times, talking about how cheap the Bengals owner was, talking about what he wasn't going to do. We always kept talking about the Bengals owner, what he wasn't going to do. And now he finally just shut us up. Made me take a step back and be like, whoa, he actually did pay him. But every single time I keep seeing them get paid, I really want to see. There's a lot of people saying it can't be done. The Bengals gonna be sorry. Man, we don't know, man. Just because you paid two good wide receivers and you got a paid quarterback does not mean that your team is going to be bad. It just means that your GM that you have in place is going to have to draft well. Similar to how Howie Roseman has already done it with the Philadelphia Eagles. I think there's some news out there that next year they already have 12 draft picks. It's all about understanding your team and getting those diamonds up in the rough and actually building a team on rookie deals. Because eventually somebody's going to have to get paid. And when they do get paid, could be either 20% of the cap of your team's salary cap. We don't know. But like they always said, the salary cap is always going to continue to go up and keep going up. So the one thing I'm going to sit back and I'm actually going to try to find out, it is what are the true dollar amounts for this duo of the Bengals, because I haven't seen anything lately for showing the full breakdown structure. If y'all have already seen something, let me know down up in the comments so I can go and actually look at it so I can analyze it to see if it was a good deal signing these players. We already knew Jamar Chase needed to get his money. We also knew T. Higgins needed to get his money. But will the Bengals owner end up throwing us a curveball just because they signed T. Higgins? Will they still trade him away? I don't know. Like, y'all let me know down up in the comments. Let me know. So since we are going to talk about the Bengals duo, let's get into the next topic. Pro day schedules. Man, the pro day schedules are out, and this is what is coming up. As of today, this is who had pro days. You had Arkansas, you had Northern Illinois, you had Oregon State, you had Syracuse, you had UCLA. That's who all performed today. As you can tell, it's the 17th right now. Filming this on Monday. And then the next thing, I think this is really cool. Like, I don't think I've ever seen this. So the Big 12 has a Big 12 Pro Day. I've never seen anybody do that up in college. But the Big 12 has their Pro Day tomorrow. And then that's also Central Arkansas, Memphis, Oregon, South Carolina, and Virginia. Let's see what guys are going to end up showing out. And let's see, we do know that Rocket Sanders on South Carolina. Let's see what he's going to end up doing since he did go to the combine. You also have on the 19th another Big 12. So it seems like the Big 12 Pro Day, it's a 3-day event. It's a 3-day event that all the Big 12 teams and players that are on trying to get into the league will get their chance to shine. But on the 19th, we got Alabama, we got Alabama A&M, we got Minnesota, we got San Jose State, and we got Stanford. And then rounding out up on the 20th, we got Big 12 Pro Day again, probably the last day, which I think they probably did a 3-day event. But y'all let us know who are y'all going to be checking out during that Pro Day, especially at the Big 12 Pro Day. It's going to be interesting. Do y'all know exactly where it's located? Just let me know down up in the comments if you can tell me where it's located. And then last but not least, we got California and William & Mary finishing things out on the 20th. So it actually seems that the Pro Day is a 4-day event, not a 3-day event. But on the 21st, you have the last and final day of the Big 12 Pro Day. You got Florida State, Michigan, Missouri, and Utah State. Go Noles. Noles all day, every day. So, some of the things, the reason why I wanted to tell y'all about some of the pro days that are coming up, it gives you a chance to actually go look and see if those are any of the prospects that you are trying to get on your fantasy team, to see how they're going to do. Also, stay up on Twitter to see what they're going to be running. If they performed well, what was their bench score, some of the things that you're looking into, some of their explosion, like their broad jump, seeing how explosive they are, their vertical jump, seeing how explosive, that's another explosive drill that I look at. Then the shuttles, like I want to see how quick they are coming in and out of their breaks, getting around, being able to change gears and change directions, how they're running their routes, are they hooking them, are they actually running the proper distance like they want to, how are they angling. So those are just some things that I physically do when I do get a chance just to watch some of the pro days. Y'all let me know, what do y'all do whenever you're looking at the pro days? Are you just looking at the stats, just see how good they did? Or you're actually trying to go that extra mile to see how they're looking physically? So let us know down up in the comments and everything. What are your thought process whenever you're looking at a pro day or when you're trying to analyze a prospect? So the pro days are over, and let's get into the very next segment. We got an RSO rookie draft that is coming up. So I don't know if you've heard about RSO, but if you didn't, let me tell you about RSO. RSO stands for Reality Sports Online, the only platform out there that I have seen where you can physically think like a GM, be a GM, and manage money like a GM. The reason why I'm talking about this so much is because A lot of people out there say that they're really good at fantasy and that they are the best GM. And this platform shows and lets you be able to show that. It takes the NFL salary cap, whatever the number ends up being for that next year or like the previous years, and you are the GM. You are the one that gets to break down the team. You have to manage your contracts, you have to manage your trades, and you also have to make sure that you're staying underneath the salary cap, because it won't let you make any moves if you are over the salary cap. So it's one of the good ways just to see really how good your fantasy skills are. So if you're thinking about doing one, hold up and wait. We got something for you at the very end. You can be a part of something special, even if you haven't, or you're on the cusp trying to think about what RSO is and you want to see how it is. Stay to the end, and we're going to tell you a little something special that we have in store just for you. So let's go and get kicked over to this rookie draft. We had a CFS Playmaker hit us up in the comments, in the DMs, and say, hey, I need some help. Like, we got the rookie draft that's about to kick off. You already know how RSO is. We want to know if you can actually help us out. All right? Us being good hosts and co-hosts, we want to have that communication with our playmakers. And if you're trying to figure out what is our playmaker, like what is the CFS Playmaker? CFS Playmaker is a person that wants to take their skill to the next level. That is what we call everybody that has joined our community in our Discord and also have become a member of our Patreon. So if you're trying to take your game to the next level, join a Patreon, and then you'll get access to our Discord and be able to have conversations going back and forth up in there. So let's go on and get down into it. So right now, the CFS Playmakers team, and what he has told us is this is IDP League. His goal is he is trying to win a championship. That's everybody. That should be everybody's goal. That's long term. Short term is he's trying to get under the cap. So currently right now, he has to get under the cap, and that is within $15 million. And that's what we said. In Reality Sports Online, you have to manage the cap properly. You got to, because you got to take on dead money if you end up cutting somebody. Just like how the NFL is in, and you got the dead money. Reality Sports Online, you also got dead money as well. So you can end up cutting somebody, but you still have to pay that guaranteed money to them. But the catch is, if somebody wants that guy that you picked up, they can also pick up that player in the waiver wire, and then actually can save you some. So then they would take on that full contract, just like the NFL. So let's go and break it down. Let's see who he has on his team right now. Let's look at it. So some of the guys that I can see that he has on his team is he has Mr. Jaden Daniels. Jaden Daniels is on his team. He also has Christian McCaffrey, Breece Hall, Malik Neighbors, Luke McCaffrey, JSN, Jamar Chase, Puka Nacua, Jatavion Sanders, Levante David, Chop Robinson, and they also got other guys that are just IDPs. So I'm not too really worried about that. So like, these are just keep in mind of like the team that he has right there. We're going to go back and forth in between this, trying to figure out. He did show us he sent us some other teams out there who he's trying to get trades for. So one of the guys that he said he's trying to trade he's either trying to trade Jamar Chase and then Puka Nacua. One of them two that is who he's trying to trade away. But also gotta remember, guys, we're trying to help him out, get underneath that cap, which is he's trying to get at least an extra $5 million so he can be able to survive in the rookie draft. Because what happens in the rookie draft, if you are over the cap in the rookie draft, RSO has a feature where it will automatically knock a good half of your team into the free agency pool. So if he was to physically try to draft today and say he doesn't meet that minimum requirement just for the team, he can end up losing like guys like Christian McCaffrey, even though I bet some people was like, yeah, just gonna get Christian McCaffrey out of here. Shoot, he can lose JSN. He could lose Jamar Chase or Puka Nacua. We don't know. So let's go on. This is his team. We're gonna keep going back and forth, and we're gonna try to help him out. And y'all let us know what you would do. So he has to get underneath the cap. So what that means is we'll say right now we know that Puka Nacua's salary cap is $36.1 million, and then Jamar Chase cap is 44.2. And also, if you look on the side right here, you see the expiration. That represents what year their contract ends. So Jamar Chase contract is not going to end until next year, and then Puka Nacua's contract is not going to end until 2027. So that's one thing that you want to look at when you are also looking at these teams and trying to build something nice in Reality Sports Online. But let's go and get into it. Let's see what are the teams that he's looking to trade and see what they can end up doing. So one of the teams, and we're going to say this is Team 1. Team 1, he is trying to, and let's see what Team 1 actually has. So we're going to break it down. We're going to look at it even more in depth to see what Team 1 actually has. Oh, hold on now. All right, trying to make it adjust. All right, we back at it. We had technical difficulties. So, Team 1, the quarterback is Aaron Rodgers. Well, this is who he has up on his team. The guy probably hasn't cut anybody yet or dropped anybody, but also you see what type of salary cap they actually got too as well. So this is what we're talking about. Like the team's overall salary cap. That's what the team has, and that's his cap space that he has. So he has $81.9 million that he gets to spend up on free agency and on rookies. So depending on what picks he have, it's going to already automatically, just like in the rookie draft, it's going to physically take its place. So let's go and get into it. Let's see. So he has Aaron Rodgers, and as you can see, people in the 2024, the ones that are probably going to most likely fall off this year. But let's see what is going to happen. So we're looking at it and we're seeing, so we also got Patrick Mahomes. Yes, Chase Brown. Let's see, who else does he have? I'm just going to pull it up in a different window so I can see it a little bit better. But he has Samante P. Ryan. He also has Jonathan Taylor, which isn't too bad. He has Derrick Henry. He has Joe Mixon. He has Brandon Rice. He has Jermaine Burton. Rashid Shepard. You got Jalen Tolbert. You got Justin Jefferson. So right there, you're looking at it right there. So Justin Jefferson is only $16.9 million. $16.9 million. So that's one guy you want to keep up on your radar just to see what he can end up doing. So maybe you can trade Jamar Chase if the guy wants to do something proggy just to get off of it. So then if that happens, if you think that they're like the same player, but also you've got to know what just happened. So Jamar Chase just got paid, so you know Burrow is going to definitely be feeding him the ball. So do you really want to get rid of Jamar Chase? I don't know. You let me know. Let us know down up in the comments how we're going to help out this CFS Playmaker. So then let's go and get into, we got Justin Chase, CeeDee Lamb, and then he has Marvin Harrison Jr., and then Gabe Davis, and Keon Coleman, and Travis Kelce. So the team isn't looking too bad. Like you see, Travis Kelce is expiring in 2024, and also you got Gabe Davis, who is also expiring in 2024. So one of the things that you're looking at is like some of the powerhouses. Would he trade Puka? And if he had like some draft picks, could he get rid of Puka and then Puka in like maybe a first, like 1.11 or something like that he might have as like rookie draft picks? Could he give a first and Puka for daggone Justin Jefferson? And you got to remember, if we go back and we look at what he has $36.1 million, and Puka Nacua's contract ends in 2027. So maybe the guys might be intrigued by that, about him being able to extend, but then Justin Jefferson is cheaper. So that's one thing you got to remember. You also got to look at the salary cap right down there at the bottom. But let's go on to go to team number 2. Let's go to team number 2 and see what they have. So team number 2 has only $52 million up in cap space. But let's see what they have on their team. They have Russell Wilson, Tua, they have Trevor Lawrence, they have Brian Robinson Jr. at running back, they have Roshan Johnson, but he's coming off this year, so we just need to focus on the players that are actually playing in 2025 and 2026, and if they got a 2027 contract. So you got James Cook. He's probably not going to trade him. You also got Tank Bigsby. You got Najee Harris, which at $23 million, and he's on his final year, might not be a bad trade to maneuver if you can, especially since I think Najee's going to do something really spectacular this year, especially being up on the West Coast where he's from. So his family's going to be involved. He's going to be a sharp family on the regular. We're going to see what Najee's going to do. But then the guy also has Rashid White. He has Tank Dell. Man, prayers up to Tank Dell. Hopefully he gets a speedy recovery. He also has Hollywood Brown. So that's one guy right there that might be a sleeper this year, because we already knew what type of player Hollywood Brown was. And not saying was as in past tense, because he didn't have the opportunity to play a full season with Patrick Mahomes, which is the reason why I think he re-signed there, so he can actually get that full year, which I think they're going to use him well this year. So then they also got Hollywood Brown. Then they got Calvin Austin. So this guy really doesn't have that much. He does have Jahan Dotson. He has Demario Douglas, and he also has George Pickens. Y'all let me know your thoughts about that trade that went down for the Pittsburgh Steelers. We know the Pittsburgh Steelers has been looking for a number 1 wide receiver for years, since Antonio Brown left. And they thought Juju could end up being that guy. Juju couldn't live up to it. We also see the same thing happen with George Pickens. I don't think he could have lived up to it as well. So they had to bring in DK to actually be that number 1. But is Arthur Smith going to let them cook? That's the one thing that we have to figure out is Arthur Smith going to let them cook? I don't know. But you let us know down in the comments. Let us know. Like, I'm trying to be communicative. Let's have a conversation. Let's have a debate. Whatever you want to do, let's have a debate and let's talk about it. Yes, because I'm doing this just for fun. I know y'all love the game for fun, but let's go in and get in it. Like, let's get to it. But back to it. Like, so these are some of the guys who he has. And he also has Mr. Jaden Reed. So those are the guys that I'm looking at when I'm looking at this guy's team and then assessing it. Seeing what he can do, because he's asking us for help, trying to get rid of some money, trying to get some money on some players and things. Then team number 3. Team number 3 has $80.9 million. $80.9 million at his quarterback realms. He has Mr. Jared Goff, Joe Burrow. On top of that, he has Mr. Zach Charbonnet, and he has the duo of Mr. Kenneth Walker, which is actually kind of smart. So then he also has Mr. Brian Thomas Jr., the owner, the CFS Playmaker, who we are helping out, is a big Brian Thomas Jr. fan. Big Brian Thomas Jr. fan. So we'll see what he can end up doing. Then you also have Mr. Drake London. So Drake London, we're going to see what he's going to be doing with Mr. Michael Penix. Like, we know Kirk Cousins isn't who he used to be, which I don't even know why the Falcons wasted their time. Because me personally, I would have never wasted my time. Would you have wasted your time upon Kirk Cousins, who's coming off an injury? That's like just what they say. That's bad for business right there. So what they say, availability is the best ability. And Kirk Cousins ain't been available lately, especially being hurt. So And then they also got Mr. Devonta Smith. Then they have Mr. Brandon Aiyuk, which is he's just coming off that ACL. Then he has Mr. Nico Collins and Brock Bowers. So this guy's team is pretty legit. Makes me wonder what place he finished last year. Then you got Mr. Dalton Kincaid and then Mr. Trey McBride. Yeah, it makes me wonder what this guy finished, because if you look at his contracts over here on the end, some of his top team members that are on his team, the contracts don't end until this year, which is in 2025. So it means he drafted pretty well. So he could look at doing a quick upgrade. He does have Joe Burrow. I do not know the full context around his team. So let's go back to his team again and let's look at it. So at his quarterback, he has Jaden Daniels. So never mind. He doesn't need to worry about too much about a quarterback, because what I was going to do is try to see what he could have done just to get Joe Burrow. Let's go back to team number 3, who we was looking at. The guy is Joe Burrow and Mr. Brian Thomas Jr. So let's see what he could do, man. Would you give up Puka Nacua? Would the guy take Puka Nacua for a Brian Thomas Jr. swap? The dude would definitely he probably would actually want more in return, especially since he's taken on an extra $30 million. So is that trade worth it? That's one thing that we were saying about it with the Reality Sports Line. You have to make the numbers work. You got to look and you got to analyze how your contracts are going to look throughout each and every season, or you could end up looking like the Saints. Yes, I said it, like the Saints in the real NFL, but also could be like them in fantasy if you don't know how to manage your money on this platform. So team isn't too shabby of what this guy has, so we'll see what he has and what he can do. But let's go to the last team. Let's go over it. Let's help him out. So he has All right, we are back at it. So team 4, what does team 4 have? You got Mr. Tyler Huntley at QB. You got Cooper Rush and Dak Prescott. So I guess you end up having to make sure he had his backup, but he only had Cooper Rush. So pretty much all his QBs are going into the draft. He has Mr. Dylan Lobley. Then he has Devin Singletary, Ezekiel Elliott, Jalen Warren. All these guys are going back into the free agency pool, which could explain the reason why he has $92.2 million. It's been on rookies and up on the salary cap for free agency. Then you got Trey Benson, you got Kamani Vidal, you got Nick Chubb. Which is interesting to see where Nick Chubb ends up landing. Right now, he does not have home. He also has Kieran Williams as well. So it depends on how high. I know the dude probably will not be giving up Vlad McConkey. They also got Joshua Palmer. There's some good guys that are on here, like Xavier Worthy, Zay Flowers, Garrett Wilson, which I wonder if he would make a trade for Garrett Wilson. I don't know. See what you might got to give up for Garrett Wilson. So that is team 4 right there. We're going to have to step back and look to see what he would do, what suggestions he would make, and let's see what is the best move for him as the GM coming into it. Because remember what we said at the beginning. This is his team right here. And what he's trying to do is he's trying to win a fantasy football championship in the long run, but also get under the cap in the short term. So some of the things that he has thrown out there that he has been getting is, this is the time to start communicating with each other back and forth. So if you see me look up, because I'm looking at the messages that he's been sending back and forth to some of the team members or GMs that's actually in the league. So one of the messages that are going back, he was like, so one of the GMs was like, all right, I'll give you Leggett if he was on my team. But he's talking about I would do Aiyuk 1.11 and a second rounder. So the guy's talking about, and this is where I'm talking about how the communication is going back and forth up in these leagues. So you got to communicate on the regular, just like in any other trade. But this one you got to do a lot more often because of what can end up happening. So in order to make the contracts work, the guy is going to give him Brandon Aiyuk 1.11 and a second rounder to be able to afford Puka Nacua. So let us know down in the comments if you would actually make that trade. So you see what Puka Nacua's cap hit is, $36.1 million, and that's just for this year in 2025. Most likely that cap is going to go up at least $2 to $3 million each year until it gets up into 2027. So by 2027, that contract could end up being like 42, 43, maybe even $44 million. So probably could be the same contract similar to Jamar Chase. So let's go on and look. So the guy brought up Brandon Aiyuk. And I think we saw Brandon Aiyuk on one of these teams who the guy was interested in, the Playmaker. Let's see what the Playmaker's trying to do. So right here, this is what he's trying to do right here. So he's looking at Team 3. Team 3 has $80 million. So he said Brandon Aiyuk just to make the money work. That's interesting. So instead of Brandon Aiyuk, we know Brandon Aiyuk has an ACL. But what would he do for like a Nico Collins? Nico Collins also been hurt too as well. Would he do a Nico Collins 1.11 and a second round pick or Puka Nacua? That's one thing that I'm going to have to go for. I'm going to have to switch up Aiyuk and be like, nah, let's see. What about Nico Collins, man? Because Puka Nacua is up there. Doesn't get hurt that often like daggone Nico Collins does. What are y'all thinking out there? You think he can make that trade? Think he should pull the trigger? Which one should he do? Let us know down up in the comments. So he is trying to get Aiyuk 1.11 and a second rounder for Puka, or should he daggone swap that and be like, hey man, I'm not feeling it. I just saw down in the comments, I'm thinking that he tried to add a second round pick, so he thought it was in 2025. That second round pick's in 2026. So since that second round pick is in 2026, you know what that means. I got to have Nico Collins up in this trade. I got to get Nico in this trade, and let's see if we don't make some magic happen. Get Nico Collins in the trade and Nico 1.11. Who knows what can happen at 1.11 in this draft? There are a lot of good running backs, wide receivers, and tight ends in this draft coming out, especially that's going to be there at 1.11. So the one thing we do not know is what other draft capital this guy has, this Playmaker has. So he didn't give us that information, but we are doing our best just to help him out, to access his team, and just to go forward. The guy also has Brian Thomas Jr. So it's the same guy's team that I was telling you about, who's a big fan of Brian Thomas Jr. I don't think he's going to be able to get off him. So we will see what can end up happening. Team 4, just looking at it, you could probably try to go for the lad, but the guy's probably not going to give him up. You got Garrett Wilson, so I don't know how high this Playmaker is on Garrett Wilson. And is Garrett Wilson even worth making that trade for? So these are the 4 teams. We're going to go back and analyze them just one more time, real quick over who we think we might end up trading with. Like, you're trying to get your team better, but you're also trying to help out as well. So let's look back and let's see just real quick who we could go for that can help him out and bolster his team. On this team, I'm really not seeing anything because I'm trying to find a way to see if he can win now, but also win in the future as well. And maybe he might do something like this, but I don't know. So this is option number 2, guys. This is option number 2. Would you do, and if you see me keep going back and forth because I'm trying to look at the team, but I'm also leaning over, but let me go on and make this thing come this way with me. So maybe it is, would you guys do this? You also got to make sure that the salary cap is working too. I don't know what Team 2 draft picks have, but I do know I'm high on Najee Harris this year. So I see that Najee Harris's contract is $23.5 million, and it's just for 2025. Would you do Najee Harris, Puka Nacua, and either like a Jaden, well, no, Jaden Reed is going into the auction, so he might be able to get him. Puka Nacua, not Puka Nacua, Najee Harris, and Puka, no, because we got to do Najee Harris and then Hollywood Brown, or Puka Nacua and whatever draft pick they can come up with. That's the Team 2, so we're going to put that down in the comments to let us know. And we're just going to do a poll. Which one would you pick? And you let us know just to be able to help out this CFS Playmaker. So those are all the options right there. So let us know what you would do. There's really not much that we have here. This Playmaker is in a tough decision, a really tough one. Like I'm just sitting back and trying to figure out how he's going to do it. But we wish him luck. I just want to see what move he ends up making. I think it's going to be good. So I think it's going to benefit his team if he makes the right one that's going to help his long-term goal, which is win that man a championship. But speaking of rookie drafts, and we've talked about it before, we're talking about it again. What is going on, everybody? So, myself, Christian_CFS, and then my co-host, Mr. K Kemp, we are also in a startup league that is RSO Rookie Draft. And we're going to keep pushing this out to you because if you've never done an RSO league before, this is the perfect time for you to do it. All you have to do is hit us down up in the comments and let us know which side you're going to take. Are you going to be Team Christian_CFS? Or are you going to take Team K Kemp? And what our job is this year, we're going to show you everything, what's going on in Reality Sports Online in the rookie draft, to break it down, our thoughts and like our philosophies. We might even go live during the rookie draft to be able to show you where our mindset is thinking. But there's a twist also too as well. We want you, yes you, the community out there in fantasy, all the people out there that is on the cusp, on the edge, trying to figure out if they really want to do an RSO league. Let us know. Let us know down in the comments whose team you picking and how you want us to build this team to get to a championship. You will either be Team K Kemp 1.12 or we're going to be Christian_CFS 1.06. Y'all let us know. And that is the reason why we need you to help us out. In the words of my co-host, I hope everything is going well with him. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And go on and tell all your friends and all your buddies about this podcast that we are trying to do. We are building brick by brick for everybody. And what he always says at the end of every show, something we gotta pay homage to the co-host. Let's do it. Let's do it again, and let's take a recap. At the beginning, we missed what Mr. K Kemp always used to say, and still says, Shalom Alkim to you, which means peace be unto you. And we hope that you are having peace in this world, because we need it. No matter what you're going through, just understand that we are here for you. Just hit us up in the DMs just to have a conversation back and forth. because you got to realize your life is more important. Fantasy is just a step that we get to come and be us and just have some type of free time. So, in final words of Mr. K Camp, hope all is well. I hope everything is going to be great for you, good sir. And what he says all the time: spread love, not hate.
Thanks for checking out another episode of Cerberus Gridiron Podcast, powered by Cerberus Fantasy Sports. Make sure you stay tuned for the next episode.
Spread love, not hate. And let's take another take and let's do it again. So the one